Ooh, welcome to the show. No culture lead in today. Maybe we'll still get a raid from some of the guys who've found our show and seem to be enjoying it. So, welcome to the Ascendant Art Podcast. I'm Will Chad. How you doing, Slender?
I'm doing pretty good, other than the fact that every one of the topics that we are discussing today pisses me off.
All our topics today are your topic. Well, I mean, Mortal Kombat 1 may not piss you off. We'll save that one for last so that you can hopefully go out on a happy note.
Yeah. Well, if you'll recall, I believe it may have been Monday this week when I hit you up and was like, we are talking about Unity on Friday.
Yes, Unity and their every time we think a corporation has really just blown it, there's another one that says hold my beer.
Yeah,
And
I think I could do it even worse.
because this is similar to Hasbro, our Wizards of the Coast with the what do they call it for Dungeons and Dragons?
The OGL, Open Game License.
Yeah, which seems like a year ago that we were talking about that debacle.
Was it already a year ago?
I don't think so. I think it was right before the Dungeons and Dragons movie came out, right? So that was March.
Yeah. So it was earlier this year. I think it was toward the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so we're looking about 8 months since that situation. And just as that was fun, like starting to settle, and the damage is still done. There's still people who aren't touching, D&D now. Unity comes in on the video game side. Do you want to give a quick like primer to people what Unity is and what they do before
we I can definitely get into that. Let me just look one thing up. All right. Yeah. So Unity is an open game engine that a lot of indie developers use to make titles. It's been, I mean, if you know any modern games, you've probably played a Unity game. Some examples. I'm just going to go down this list, right? Because I pulled up a list. Beat Saber, Monument Valley, Return of the Obra Dinn, Hollow Knight. Everybody knows Hollow Knight.
Oh, yeah.
RimWorld, extremely popular game. Subnautica, huge game. Don't know those. Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go was made on the Unity engine.
Oh my god, Pokemon Go was one of the biggest games of the last 10 years. People don't want to admit that because it's a mobile one.
I played it. Yeah. City Skylines, which is basically like SimCity, only it's the new version that doesn't suck. Rust. Hearthstone, which is a Blizzard title, I believe. Yeah, from Blizzard, is a digital collectible card game set in the Warcraft universe. Ori and the Blind Forest, extremely popular game. Pillars of Eternity, that's a really big one. Cuphead. Everybody liked Cuphead back in the day. All of these were made on the Unity engine. I've tooled around with the Unity engine. I've never made a full game, but I figured out how to make some maps that you could walk around on. And I mean, I have very little coding ability. So if I can get that far along by myself, it was a good engine. I don't know that I can still say it's a good engine though.
I was gonna say it's the engine that comes to mind if you do a lot of gaming, especially first person shooters and things, is Unreal.
Unreal is one of the biggest competitors to Unity.
Unreal is a really crazy. I mean, I remember playing Unreal Tournament when it first came out on PC. I was a PC gamer back then, Slender, because my PC could run those things. I had a high and I played Unreal. I had Quake, Quake 2, and Half-Life. Everybody was playing Half-Life. But Unreal kind of took things over. And one of the ways they started out as just a game, and then they realized that the engine they developed to make that game was very user-friendly for other developers and licensed it out. And now they don't make games anymore. They make the Unreal Engine. So
yeah, and that's a solid engine too. I mean, the vast majority of the games that you're seeing come out nowadays, they're either made on a proprietary engine owned by the company, or Unity or Unreal. Those are the two heavy hitters.
we got Tina coming in saying she's using a new generative AI tool to make a virtual audio and video avatar for my training. It's good you all can't hear me screaming at the screen. So, yeah, so engines developed, they're developing tools, and so when you have to get a license to use a game, an engine, right? It's something, it's a tool, it's software somebody else made. So yeah, you're gonna need to license
Well,
it if you're gonna make a product.
Unity was interesting for the longest time, and I believe the landscape has changed somewhat since the last time I was tooling around with it. But it used to be anyone could download Unity and start tooling around with putting together a game. They didn't make you pay for that. Like, now it was in the contracts, like, the user agreement, that if you did market that game and it generated over $200,000 in revenue, then you would have to pay Unity for a commercial license at that point. But
Yeah,
that I mean, I was making stuff for free. I just wasn't selling it.
yeah. So I think a good place to start is to share where we were about a week ago when they first, because there's been updates. So I think to set the stage, I'm going to go ahead and share an article from just 7 days ago. 7 days ago, so long. All right, so we've got this article from Ars Technica dated September 15th, so 7 days, about Unity changing its fee structure.
Yeah,
including confusing contradictory terms of service clauses.
Here was the most ridiculous part of the whole thing, right?
I think it's
This is
this
the
one
part
right
that
here.
baffled me. Would
That's
impose
the install charges.
Yeah, not per purchase, per install.
Yeah, so
and the thing of it is like, as an example, this kills indie projects. Like, right off the bat, indie projects are dead. And yes, 16-bit mascot is right. They have at this point completely walked it back. The new contract was just put out earlier today. But I mean, a walk back, I don't know how I feel about a walk back. But the idea is, let's say you're an indie game developer and you make an indie game and it kind of starts to blow up. Like, your Cuphead or your Ori and the Blind Forest or your Hollow Knight. Those are all pretty small developers, right? But then, like, Microsoft or Sony comes to you and they're like, hey, we want to put this on Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to give you X amount of dollars so that they can feature it on Game Pass each month. So you might get like $5,000 a month, right?
Flat fee. Yeah, not per user.
You're not getting money per user. Your game is being featured on the platform and you're getting probably a lump sum for the month. So if you give $5,000, but then a million copies is downloaded, you're screwed.
So, and if you're on PlayStation, it's PlayStation Plus. It's the same concept. PlayStation Plus has their monthly free games for users, and they tend to be older AAA games where the studio is not getting a lot of sales. So this flat fee revenue is fine for them. Plus, it also usually coincides with promoting a sequel or another, or a DLC content release that they will get paid for, or it's indie games like you're just talking about. It's indie games where a flat fee is perfect for them because they want the exposure. They like getting known for making a great game, and so flat fee is great for them. But an install fee in that circumstance would crush them, because I guarantee you that on a per user downloading the game basis, an indie studio is probably getting the equivalent of maybe 80 cents to $1. Not even, maybe. It's probably less than $1 in terms of what that flat fee translates to per user downloading.
Yeah, probably.
And then if you're talking 20 cents of that, you're saying that at least 20%, maybe more of that money per user download is now getting sucked up by the Unity agreement.
Yeah, and here's the other part, right? Like a lot of developers were like, okay, well, how are you tracking this per install charge, right? We want to see that. And they're like, well, we use proprietary tracking software, which we believe is extremely accurate.
So what we'll
but
call
you don't
that
get
is
to see it. We're not going to
the
show you how the cake is made.
That's the trust us clause.
Yeah, yeah.
This reminds me of I work in finance and accounting thing, and one of the businesses I worked at and ran, I did the marketing, and by marketing, it means I would be the one responsible for the budget and then purchasing where our advertisements would go. And I'd always have these people coming in to pitch their products or services, and we got to online ones, and these guys were the greatest because they talk about all this data that they can have so that you can target the specific audience. And then they
find the right customer for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then they get to the click-through rates and this stuff and the other, and then they get to that point where they're like, but you don't need to worry about that because nobody gets the clicks. You're just trying to get your eyes on you're in front of them. And I was like, so you get to all this data, and then you tell me the one thing I don't need to worry about is people clicking my ad and actually taking the action. I feel like that's not a good trust relationship right there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My eyes like drift over top of probably 100 ads a day when I'm on the internet. I don't remember any of them, nor do I care.
Which is why I was like, I understand that click-through rates are astronomically low, but don't lie to me and don't try to charge me for something that you're not actually doing. So that's where this was all trying to negotiate my rates, down for what I was paying for the advertising. So this whole thing with Unity led to a blowback on, I would say, on par or as big, because it's gaming. Gaming is bigger.
Oh, it blew up real quick.
Yeah, so let's. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch because
before we go to that, though, I want you to understand something. Do you know who the CEO of Unity is?
I feel like I should know this, but I don't. Who is it?
It's John Riccitiello.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Because he used to be the CEO of EA.
Oh fuck yeah! There you go.
Yeah.
Is that the
This
bald
is the
dude?
man who was quoted as saying, "Mobile game developers who don't fully monetize their customer base are fucking idiots." Yeah. Paraphrasing slightly, but that's almost an exact quote.
Yeah, and I'm looking up his history. He also worked as an equity firm, Elevation Partners. All right, not that
he doesn't even look like a fucking gamer. Like this is and
that's right. Awesome One gets it. It's in the game. You remember EA though.
This is probably going to come up a couple times because I think it's part of the big problem, right? But do you remember when we were wee little lads and like there was Mega Man and Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Brothers and all these other kinds of games were coming out and they were awesome. But there was really not that much money in gaming yet. So corporate America didn't give a shit about it. But now gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so you get CEOs like John Riccitiello, who's probably never played a fucking game in his life. But he's got his MBA. So he's the CEO of a company. And it's like, dude, you don't fucking belong here. You don't deserve to be here. You don't know what you're selling. Get the fuck out of my industry.
Yeah. So, and that's what's led to our update here, which is the walk back. We're getting very used to the walk back, right? So what they're going to do is they are not changing a new fee to personal subscriptions. The revenue cap on games made is now 200,000. This is like you were saying, it has to actually make money.
Yeah, that was part of the old user agreement. So like that means nothing to me. You've gone back to what it was. Okay.
Furthermore, any game with Unity that makes less than 1 million in 12 months will not be subject to the fee.
Okay.
So the fee would have applied to all games that met with specific download and revenue thresholds. This applied to both games in development and release. Now Unity is saying that the fee will only apply to games made with the next version of Unity expected to. Now, here's the thing. That means that fee's still there.
Yeah, they're just kicking the can down the road right now and hoping everybody kind of overlooks it in 2024. Like,
yeah,
they walked it back, as is so often the case with these companies for now.
Yeah, and all someone coming in with, "Oh, you don't want to pay every time you install." Yeah, that's exactly right. Like this install thing, like say, Slender, you could have 3 PCs in your home.
Mm-hmm.
You've purchased the game, you go on your account and download it. You don't have to purchase it 3 times.
No, once I've purchased it, I can download and install it as many times as I would like.
Exactly, and what this means is that,
as a matter of fact, when the Xbox and the PlayStation are wonderful examples of this, right? You probably got 500 gigs. If you spend a little extra, you might have a terabyte hard drive on there, right? Well, nowadays, that's like 3 fucking games. So do you know how often me and my sons would play the deletion wars, where I wanted to make space for the game I was playing, so I deleted the games he was playing, and then 2 days later, he wanted to make space for the game he was playing, so he deleted the game I was playing, and we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and the games were probably deleted and installed 15 times over the course of a month or 2.
Yep, and the only thing you leave on is the saved game data, so you can, once you reinstall it, you can go right back where you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so going to the quote from our friend over here, this is the runtime fee policy will only apply beginning with the next LTS version of Unity shipping in 2024 and beyond. Mark Whitten, president of Unity Create, said in a letter announcing the new policies, "Your games that are currently shipped and the projects you are currently working on will not be included unless you choose to upgrade them to this new version of Unity." Well, I can tell you right now that if I'm a developer and I'm looking for my next game engine starting after this release of Unity.
I hate to say this, but were I a game developer or development studio that has been using Unity up to this point, they couldn't pay me to develop my next project in Unity. They could offer me money and I would be like, nope, until you fire John Riccatello, I am not working with Unity on any projects moving forward, because as much as he likes to think I'm a fucking idiot, I'm not a fucking idiot.
I mean, like, why? Yeah. I used Windows 95 for I think a decade. You might be a record setter, man. That's getting a lot of time out of Windows 95, because they released a lot of operating systems after. I mean, Windows 98 was Windows ME, so within 5 years of Windows 95, Microsoft was trying to get you to go down
Windows
the road.
95, Windows 98, Windows ME, Windows NT, Windows XP.
Was the, I got to be honest, XP was probably the one that I logged the longest use out of. I may still have a Windows XP machine that runs my MABE arcade, like, because it works. If you're not hooked up to the internet, there's no like security risk. You're just running your arcade machine off it. It's as good
Windows
as a Raspberry
8 was
Pi.
The worst. I think Windows 8 was the worst.
Windows ME was a piece of shit.
Yeah, but Windows 8 was the one they tried to make touchscreen compatible. So that was a cell phone.
Yeah, so no, they did, because Windows 7. So what they did is, what was the one right after XP? Was Windows, because XP and 7 were good, and the one in between them was really bad. So the one in between was terrible. That came out like 2004, 5. But Windows 7 was also really solid. Windows 7 was actually just XP with a graphics facelift.
I'm looking it up right now. We got Windows 7, 8, 10, 95, 98, XP, NT, several versions of NTME. It was
Vista. It was Vista.
probably. Oh
It was
yeah,
Windows Vista.
Vista.
Vista was such a piece of shit.
Dude, it was right here on the list. I must have blocked it out. This
Yeah.
Windows Vista must have scarred me because I looked right at it and I didn't even register that it was there.
Yeah, so Windows 7 was then basically going back to XP, which was a solid and well-received operating system.
Yep.
Doing a couple tweaks and doing a graphics facelift, and then putting in that's what Windows 7
That's
was.
always been Windows, though. Every other release is good.
Yeah, then what you're talking about with the touchscreen thing was 8 and 8.1.
Yep.
That's when the iPad was really hot, and Microsoft somehow thought everybody was going to go into touchscreen.
Every other Windows release is them trying to innovate, and they're not Apple, so they can't innovate. Innovate one is always a pile of shit, and then they're like, we better release another one because nobody likes this one that we've got out right now.
Yeah, so that came out in 2012, and everybody, I can tell you, everybody in the business world was like, fuck that, we're just sticking with 7. All we're doing is Windows 7. And that's why they had to expand. I think they extended the support life.
I don't remember if it was when they went to Vista or when they went to Windows 7, but XP was losing its support, right?
Yeah, because they made everybody.
Of Defense paid Microsoft millions of dollars to continue to support that software because they didn't want to go to the new Windows.
I don't blame them. The new one was 8 and 8.1 were trash. Vista was trash. So I think the 7 was what everybody eventually went to, and then I know my business transitioned from 7 to 10 is where we went, which was Windows 10, and then
no, I did the same thing. I stuck with 7, and then when 10 came out, I finally migrated to 10. I'm on 11 now, but I wish I wasn't.
Yeah.
But when one of your hard drives fails and it happens to be the hard drive with the operating system on it, all you can really do is get the latest version of Windows, or you don't have an operating system. And I ain't doing a fucking Linux box. I'm sorry.
No, I'll be honest. And as much as I knock my Surface for not being able to handle any kind of gaming capability,
except Conan Exiles,
when I run it on low mode and
when you run it on laptop,
like what is it? Those setting like low end laptop?
Yes, there is a low end laptop setting where it just doesn't load anything in, and you're basically running around on an empty map.
That was still the most fun I ever had, leading Mad around, like letting me be the guide to get to your house in the north. But yeah, I will say that as a Windows machine, like actually doing core, functions like your Windows type tasks, Word, Excel, especially Excel, spreadsheets, Teams, all that stuff. The Surfaces are probably your best bet because it's almost along the lines of what Apple does. The Microsoft programs are tuned to work best on their equipment. Right. So if you have to do like a power user for like spreadsheets, a Surface device is probably going to be really solid for you. Now, gaming wise, forget that. You go get a gaming rig. That's what you want. But I'm assuming that most people with a really high end gaming rig aren't designing that to be able to run their spreadsheets and do pivot, tables and things like that. No. But so looking at this quote, I don't think this is a walk back the way, like the news is reporting that it's kind of like a full walk back. What this is really being is like, we're keeping exactly what we told you we're going to do. We're just waiting till the next version to do it.
Well, and basically because part of the big part of the backlash that came in first was like, We are like 3/4 of the way through a development cycle on a game we're developing with your engine, and you're telling us now that you're changing the pricing structure? I mean, I'm surprised John Riccitiello didn't come out with like a fucking Vader mask and I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it further.
He was also opening his business up to massive lawsuits, right? Because every one of those developers,
rightfully so.
Well, not anymore, because they're not going to, if they don't change the terms of service for people who had started development, there's nothing that they would have to be worried. So in legal circles, it's called damages.
Yep.
Damages are, your loss. What did you lose as a result of this? It can be money, it can be a lot of things, but those are you have to have had damages, and then you go to the legal system to redress the wrong and get compensation for the damages. If they have changed it now so that existing terms of service is not altered for people who started development, they really don't have any grounds to sue as of yet, because they're what Unity is doing is saying, okay, for the people who started doing stuff, we're not changing anything on that where you're already doing anything. But if you download the next version of our engine and start using
to
it,
Unity 2024,
you're agreeing to the new terms when you do it.
Then we're having that ass.
That's great South Park episode about not reading the terms and conditions. You just click yes and I agree. Well, this is what when they update the software and they tell you we are also updating our terms of service, and you just hit I agree. That's what you're like letting them you're overwriting any rights you had previously.
Yeah, and it even says in this next paragraph here, with this new update, Unity is also addressing some developer backlash by reinstating the ability for developers to use whatever terms of service that correspond with their version of Unity.
Exactly. And that makes sense. Like, for the whichever version you downloaded and agreed to should be what you're stuck with.
If you're putting out a new version next year and those are the terms of service for the new version, sure. Fuck it. I'll keep using the version that I have. You will never get me to use that new version. And if you try and make the old version unavailable, then I'll just fucking use a different engine. Because I don't think anyone should go to an engine that has that predatory a terms of service.
Now, here's the thing. The games that will be assessed the new runtime fee, it's going to happen for people using the new version of the Unity engine. But what they're going to do is, instead of charging per installation, Unity will now let developers choose for games that are subject to the runtime fee a choice of either a 2.5% revenue share or the calculated amount based on the number of new people engaging with your game each month. I don't understand how they would have to open up their books, because if I'm a developer and I need to decide if I'm giving 2.5% of my, and I can guarantee you it's gross revenue, not profit.
Yeah, and this is the thing that pisses me off about this more than anything else, right? I'm going to give you a bit of an analogy. We're going to do a thought exercise, if you will. Little Chad, have you ever bought a book?
Several?
How much do you think the author paid the paper mill when you bought that book?
I don't think they paid the paper mill at all. They probably paid the printer if it was a self-published book.
What? You're out of your mind. Okay. Well, if they paid the printer, how much did the printer pay the paper mill for the book that you bought?
I would imagine whatever the going rate in volume and bulk paper would be. I could get a Dunder Mifflin rep in and we could try to figure it out.
You ever done any home improvement?
Occasionally.
What tool you use?
I mean, well, it depends. Sometimes, light home
No,
improvement.
like, what's your brand? Do you like DeWalt? Are you like a Cobalt guy? What's up?
I usually use Cobalt.
You use Cobalt?
Yep.
So every time you fix something with a Cobalt tool, do you have to pay Cobalt?
Nope.
Or did you just buy the fucking tool and now it's yours?
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, but Unity is a tool.
They didn't make the game. They have no stake in the IP. They have no claim to the profits of the game. Not everything can be I make profit off of the stuff that you made because you made it with my tool.
It's the underwear gnome system, right?
It's this envious bullshit. Some of these indie developers were really successful, and instead of making a better fucking product so that you could sell more product to the indie developers who were expanding, you were like, man, they made millions and millions of dollars off of that. Why didn't I get any of that money? How can I fucking get some of that money? Like,
apparently your rant is getting Mr. Bojan laughing, so that's always a win.
Like, stay in your fucking lane. Like, if I make a table and you're like, hey, I really like that table, Slender, I'll buy it from you for $200. I don't then give DeWalt $50 because I used their circular saw to cut the pieces for the fucking table.
All right, so I get every point you're making, but I think this is a bigger problem in gaming because even the game studios,
it's a bigger problem in software, right?
Well, yeah, they're doing that shit because they're all doing SaaS, which is an acronym for software as a service.
Yeah, it's the devil, is what it is.
It's the Netflixization of software, which is instead of buying the software and having the software that you purchased for as long as your system can run it, and installing it on whatever machine you own. The very beginning of this was license keys, where you would only be able to install it on a couple PCs. And, you could argue the reasons for that, but even that was starting to be, I mean, me and you both remember the old days where if you bought the disc, you could install it on every computer you wanted. So, then the first thing they did was license keys, where the CD or the game or the diskette, it had a little key, a number that you had to key in when you did the install, and once the internet was around, it would check, and once you'd reached 3, 4, 5, whatever the maximum number of installs was, you couldn't use that software anymore.
Yeah.
So for
a lot of them, it was 1. I don't know how many times, like, I don't know if this ever happened to anybody else, but did you ever install a copy of Windows XP? And then you punch in the activation key, and it's like, that activation key has already been used. And I'm like, the fuck it has. I just bought this.
So that's why, if you remember, with the Windows systems, they would tell you how to go through the steps of making recovery disks for your computer. And those recovery disks would be specific to your license key. Because every Windows computer used to have that sticker on the back that had the license key for your Windows operating system.
Yep. And the one that was probably already used by some hacker somewhere.
or if it was a display model in a store, someone could come in and just take a picture. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so all right, this is a fun story. One of my brothers was visiting, and I don't know, he was goofing off doing something on the computer, and then all of a sudden, this was a Windows 95 computer. So this was probably when I was in high school, I was getting ready to graduate, so 98, 99. He deleted something on the computer, and it turned out to be the kernel 32 file, the kernel 32.dll.
Oh, he bricked his own machine.
He bricked our machine, and he was visiting. So, what was my solution to this? What would you think I would do, Slender?
At that point? Format the hard drive, reinstall the operating system.
No, because I didn't have that ready to go.
Okay, use a recovery disk?
No, the smarter play. I went over to Best Buy, and I took my.
I did not realize we were going that route.
And I took my disk with me, and I made a copy of the kernel 32 file onto that disk. Okay. Then I went home and, using the BIOS screen and the DOS menu, loaded the file back on, and then boom, magic, the computer started just fine. So, and when I was at Best Buy, as I'm doing this as a teenager, like in high school, one of the tech salespeople comes by, "Can I help you?" And I was like, no, I'm good. It's like, as I'm taking discs and putting it in. I felt like what was it that movie Sandra Bullock with the net where she just went to the computer store and was using like because that's I mean
it
if you
used to be a thing you could do.
yeah, I used to do that all the time. Like, I would love going into Best Buy, and because they actually had like a LAN connection before everybody else did. You had it at college, but broadband was still getting out into the wild.
Yeah.
And I would turn the computers off demo mode. I would just Alt Tab, close the demo screen, and just start doing stuff on the computer. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just looking. I'm fine. Thank you. You can go now. It's like, and and the salespeople, because they're not, they actually didn't know anything about computers. Like, what are you doing? How did you close that out? And I was like, how do you not know how to close this out? It's just keystroke commands, dumbass. Like,
Dude, I am loving the article that we pulled up. The next
Yeah.
paragraph. Throughout this rollout, users have asked how Unity will determine when a game has met download and revenue thresholds. Previously, it said it relies on proprietary software, but would not divulge details about how the software worked. Developers were concerned that proprietary software was either unreliable, involved inserting unwanted DRM, or would run afoul of privacy laws. Unity has walked this back entirely, stating that now it will allow users to self-report revenue.
Yeah. This is
Unless you live in China. If your game was developed in China, well, the CCP will definitely probably have some listening going on.
here we go. Unity acknowledged its poor communications throughout the process. I want to start with simply this. I'm sorry, Witten said. We should have spoken with more of you, and we should have incorporated more of your feedback before announcing our new runtime fee policy. This is where I really wish we had the thing I'm working on to get the I'm sorry from South Park. That would have been a perfect sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. But there we go. Through this latest announcement seems to address many major concerns from developers. It still seems like trust between Unity and the game development community might have been irrevocably damaged. The company will be hosting a live fireside chat on YouTube to discuss the new policy Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So they would have done that a few hours ago.
Yeah, I'm going to go see if I can't find that.
Per Mr. Bojan, it means they had some type of DRM in there and had to walk it back. Yeah, so in order for them,
exactly what it means.
If they were going to be able to know that specific details about installs and what was going on and that kind of thing, they had some digital DRM stuff in there and reporting just to Unity, and God knows how much that backdoor would have been reporting to them about anything else.
Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube, huh?
It should be, I guess it should be on there. We haven't, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't see it up here.
I mean, this, let's see, this was dated today, right?
I am on Unity's channel looking right now. They haven't done a live stream since 3 weeks ago.
This article was dated at September 22nd, 1:51 p.m.
Yeah.
So
maybe it's next Friday. Because it ain't there right now.
Yeah. So that's I feel like they've done the Wizards of the Coast move, and they've basically essentially told everyone before the new version of Unity comes out, find a new engine.
Yeah, they committed seppuku. Like, they're done.
Like, what's the point? Like, why? You're being
I showed you earlier. I mean, this shit dropped at the beginning of the week, and I wrote a Declaration of Independence for gamers. So,
yeah, from a gamer standpoint, I would also like to point out, I would like the Declaration of Independence for gamers to 100% include that when I buy a game, it should be done, and I should be able to play it day one without having to download a new version of the game.
Yes, it's like, I have enjoyed this transaction. Our business is complete. Like,
I'll tell you what I never do ever anymore is pre-order a game.
No, I don't pre-order games, and I mean, it is very seldom that I break this rule. I have once or twice, but like, I don't do games that are in early access. Like, I don't fucking do that anymore. Had way too many games that I thought were really cool, and then the early access was crap, and then they kind of never went anywhere with them. So yeah, early access and pre-order, I don't do that anymore.
Like, I mean, I feel bad for people who pre-ordered No Man's Sky, but for people who buy it now, it's an amazing game, allegedly. I haven't played it yet, so
I wish I'd have bought it when the price was down, because now I want it, but it's back up to full price.
it's because they've rebuilt their reputation to the point that people are like, the player base is there.
Oh, and they had a great month too.
I mean, Starfield sold so many copies of No Man's Sky.
That's not even a joke. I think that really did happen.
I mean, I feel like if they were having fun on social media, the No Man's Sky people should have put a picture of Starfield up and been like salesman of the month.
Yeah.
But no, now speaking of sales and gaming, because you pointed this story out to me, and I was shocked at it, because my God, I didn't think that Microsoft could be worse, or specifically the Xbox team. And we've got this story.
They could be. They could be worse, but not much.
So what we're looking at is a leaked email from.
Yes. This is from the
Phil
CEO
Spencer
of Xbox himself.
Let me get it nice and big.
Yeah.
Get it bigger. There we go. All right. So Phil Spencer, Mr. Xbox. I'm going to read the first line, because this is so telling.
Well, he went and visited Takeshi's castle. So
yeah, Takeshi. I totally agree that Nintendo is the prime asset for us in gaming, and today gaming is our most likely path to consumer relevance. Now, that line right there is basically
said no gamer ever.
Yeah. Is basically Phil Spencer saying that the only way for Xbox to stay relevant with consumers is, and Microsoft specifically, for the only way for Microsoft to stay relevant to consumers is through gaming, and the best asset for Microsoft to pursue in gaming is Nintendo. So he goes on, I've had numerous conversations with the LT of Nintendo about a tighter collaboration, and I feel like if any US company would have a chance with Nintendo, we are probably in the best position. The unfortunate, or fortunate for Nintendo, situation is that Nintendo is sitting on a big pile of cash. They have what is that, BOD, that until recently, that would be board of directors.
Board of directors.
They have a board of directors that until recently has not pushed for further increases in market growth or stock appreciation. I say until recently, as our former Microsoft board of director member Value Act has been heavily acquiring shares of Nintendo, and I've kept in touch with Mason Morfitt as he's been acquiring. It's likely he will be pushing for more from Nintendo stock, which could create opportunities for us. Without that catalyst,
this
I don't
see...
This
is the slimiest, most underhanded fucking bullshit I have ever seen.
Yeah, no, he goes on like, without that catalyst, I don't see an angle to a near-term mutually agreeable merger of Nintendo and Microsoft, and I don't think a hostile action would be a good move, so we are playing the long game. But
note that he said, I don't think that a hostile action would be a good move, but he didn't take it off the table either.
No, I think he knows that gamers would, especially Japanese gamers, would not see that. The idea of Microsoft gobbling up Nintendo would not be well received by a lot of the Japanese public. And so Nintendo, people don't realize, has been around for over 100 years there. It's one of their largest businesses.
Yeah,
They
they used to
existed
make
before.
wooden games.
Yes, it'd be Hasbro. Like they started as Hasbro and became the biggest video game developer in Japan. Let's see.
Yeah, and
Our
it's
board of
hilarious how
directors.
everyone would reference the console wars, and it's always Sony, Microsoft, Xbox, PlayStation, Sony, Microsoft, and then it's like Nintendo, Wii, motherfuckers.
No,
Like,
wait. Because there's a little sneaky line that you didn't notice in the parentheses the first time, which is our board of directors has seen the full write up on Nintendo and Valve, and they are fully supportive on either if opportunities arises, as am I. So this
yeah,
was,
I think they already tried to make a move on Valve, and Valve was like, "Fuck off." So
yeah. So this email, by the way, was dated August of 2020, which I believe predates their acquisition of Activision.
yes, this not only does this predate their acquisition of Activision, the whole reason that we have access to this email now is because it was leaked as part of discovery for the Activision trial.
Yep. And I would point out that let's see. Oh, here we go. The charity option among Xbox game points for playing is all one-sided G Mafia stuff, and the games on Game Pass didn't impress me to sub to Game Pass anymore. Yeah, I had heard good things about Game Pass, but I guess that's if you're. Well, I think they get a decent amount of their AAAs on there. Well, now that they have Activision, or will have Activision,
it's not bad. I don't know. It's not bad. I mean, Nintendo honestly is the one that I like the most because I have like a Nintendo Entertainment System emulator and a Super Nintendo emulator and an N64 emulator.
Yeah, so I think getting back to your point about this, what was sleazy is that they are clearly working with third party businesses to start buying up shares, and even if they don't do this hostile takeover type action initially, what they'll start doing is pushing Nintendo. Like what he's talking about is how Nintendo hasn't been pushing to monetize everything, and when they talk about
they still have the old it's a very cultural thing in Japanese gaming, but like shepherd the IP. That is the goal. They protect their IP. They always have. Mario ain't gonna be no bitch. Link's not gonna, get fucked over. Like they don't let their IP get just run through like
just look at the difference between what happened with the Mario movie and what happened with Halo, which I would say it's not even arguable that Halo is the biggest franchise in Xbox history.
No, and look what happened to The Witcher. You know, like do not let Americans get their filthy mitts on your IP because they will just shit all over it.
The Xbox is just used to watch YouTube on a second TV. I still use my PlayStation 4 now mostly as a Blu-ray player because I just don't have as much time for gaming because gaming is so involved from a time standpoint.
I have time for gaming. I will make time for gaming. Hell, at this point, I'm thinking about going back to Dark Souls. I haven't played Dark Souls in a while. Maybe I'll stream it.
Ooh, streaming Dark Souls. You're opening up you know what? Could you go really like meta and have the Dark Souls YouTube videos playing as you're playing Dark Souls?
I mean, I suppose I could. To give you some context, I have the Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition on Steam, and I have Dark Souls Remastered on Steam. Between the two of them, I'm closing in on 300 hours of gameplay. So I'm not like a super devoted Dark Souls player. I love the game, but probably of those 300 hours, about 100 of them were spent just getting my ass kicked by Ornstein and Smog over and over again. So I'm not like a pro Dark Souls player, but I love the game, and I kind of want to go play it again. Maybe I'll do a series, and I'll just do all the Souls-like games. Start with Dark Souls and going all the way through to Elden Ring.
I mean, you've got the system to actually be able to stream games. You might as well.
I don't know. I just gotta figure out if anyone would watch it.
I mean, I was watching Brahma play Mortal Kombat 1 the other night, and there wasn't a huge stream audience, but it was still fun.
Yeah, I could see that. All right. What's the next paragraph say? I can't read because yours is blurry, so you got to read it.
All right. Confidentially, we have two fairly active M&A, which is their financial terms for merger and acquisition discussions in gaming right now. Warner Brothers Interactive and ZeniMax. I took ZeniMax to the board of directors last week, and prior to the board of directors discussion, I asked Amy and Satya if they wanted me to slow either or both of these given the TikTok discussions. This was when Microsoft was considering buying TikTok. And they were both emphatically told me no. They are fine doing all three of these if the deals make sense. That's because Microsoft has a shit ton of stupid money if they want to buy things. I won't say Warner Brothers or Zenny is Nintendo, but both are for sale and gettable by us if things align. The biggest obstacle in Warner Brothers is IP ownership. We wouldn't own any of the IP, which hurts long-term flexibility. And the only obstacle on Zenny is valuation expectations of the founders, meaning they think it's worth way too much. But I think it's likely one or both of these happen, which will help us continue to double down on our gaming relevance. To give a sense of scale, ZeniMax is about the size of our current first-party studios, so that would be doubling our content asset. Downside is it's more core, less broad, not mobile, more North America, European, etc. So instead, they bought Activision. It just, yeah.
I don't know. It's, again, fucking scumbag. Like, this is a guy who doesn't know anything about gaming, but he's got his master's in business administration, so for some reason he's in charge of gaming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I do want a guy who you know can run a business to a certain degree at the head of the company. But I also want someone who knows something about fucking games, and these people don't know shit about games. They just don't. They spit on gamers. They think we're just a bunch of nerds that they can we're just walking wallets they can pluck money out of. Fuck them. I want them out of my industry.
Yep. And that's why I, for the life of me, really wish that whether it's the European Union or the SEC here in the United States or the Department of Justice, whoever is looking at this would just put the kibosh on Activision being bought by Xbox. I don't like the idea of what that would do, because it's going to push the gaming as a service even more. Activision was already the worst as a gaming company with microtransactions and pay to win and all the rest, and teaming them with Microsoft is just the worst idea.
Yep, pretty much. It's I don't know. It fills me with a disgust that I can't fully describe.
Tina, by the way, says, "Hey, NBA's rock." I don't know. I mean, theoretically, she may have one. I guess, you know. But...
Tina, if you have an MBA, that is all well and good, but that's only half the equation. If you're running a gaming company, like, I feel like you should know gaming.
Brahma Bull felt the disturbance of force. Did someone say? I did. I brought up your Mortal Kombat gaming stream. It was fun.
Apparently, my sister is in the chat now.
I'm hopefully that's your genuine sister. Maybe
it probably is. I mean, maybe.
Let's see.
I'm assuming
Tina has
she knows I do a podcast on Fridays, so
there you go. Tina does have an MBA and I think Masters of something.
And she's a matador? You fight bulls?
Awesome one, Master of Bad Takes. So, yeah, I'm not looking. Tina's awesome, and I love Tina. But Loki season 2 is right around the corner, and I really dread how
the
happy
bad
she's going
takes
to
are
be
going to be
about
coming
it.
in hard and fast.
Because she is going to probably be so in love with Loki season 2, and I'm really happy she loves it. I really am, but I know I won't. So
Yes, well,
ah,
training and development.
training
Nice.
development. Okay, there we go. See, I was thinking she was the masters of touchdowns, but maybe not in Illinois because the Bears can't score. No, Tina probably just heard the part about Loki season 2 because she's right there for it.
You you might force me to end the stream when you start talking about the Bears.
Did you see
One,
they got
I
robbed?
find football incredibly boring, and two, don't talk about my team. I know they haven't been good since the 80s.
No, all right. So this was a terrible week for the Bears. Did you see some of the stories?
No, I don't follow football anymore. I don't give a shit.
Slender, their defensive coordinator resigned because he got raided by the FBI, and the allegation is that it might have been CP related.
Oh, well then, yeah. That's wait. Who do you vote for?
I don't know. No, not. He
Has he been an
rated
outspoken Trump supporter or anything like that? Because
no,
I
it
don't
wasn't
know what I
January
believe.
6th. No, but but the other story I saw is that some people just drove right over a security fence at Soldier Field and stole like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
If it's Bears paraphernalia, I don't think there is hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Yeah. Oh, what was interesting about this Warner Brother about getting back to the Xbox email here is that we knew Warner Brothers Gaming was on when they were going before they redid their deal and became Warner Brothers Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
When AT&T fully owned them, they were definitely trying to get rid of their gaming division. That is 100% true. The thing about Warner Brothers Gaming is that they generally tend to license out and make DC Comics kind of games, like or Mortal Kombat. They make Mortal Kombat games.
Okay.
But they don't own the IP. Like, they wouldn't sell the IP. It's not like they just make the game.
Right.
So I think that's what scared Xbox off. Like, Spencer wants to gobble up and own the IP. He doesn't want to, he wants to own Call of Duty. He doesn't just want to get the studios that make it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea is to get your hands on some of that IP, which, I mean, I don't know why everyone in business with their fancy MBAs, as they're called, I don't know why they haven't figured out that just getting your hands on the IP isn't going to make you money. Like, it hasn't worked for Amazon. It hasn't worked for Disney. It hasn't worked for fucking anyone lately. Why, Microsoft, do you think you're suddenly going to be the one that gets it right?
The first success I've seen with an IP lately where it's something like that, and it wasn't even owned by Netflix, was this One Piece show. Apparently is being very well received.
That is because the creator of One Piece retained very strict control over what Netflix was allowed to do with that IP.
It reminds me
of
he
didn't do the Cowboy Bebop thing where he just was like, yeah, sure, you can do what you want with it.
Well, I think the problem for the Cowboy
was much more involved.
The guy who did the Cowboy Bebop anime didn't own it. He was just hired to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he had no ownership over. He was work for hire. And even though he made an amazing anime, when it came time for Netflix to adapt it, he had no rights to try to control anything about it, and it showed.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get into the One Piece anime. It's just a little too silly for me, so I never bothered to go watch the one they made on Netflix. I've heard good things, though.
So, Shade Bluma, I have heard the One Piece show is great. Okay. Awesome one over here with might be the comment of the day. If I get a hold of GoBots, my word, it's gonna take off.
Yeah.
Do you know who owns GoBots now?
Walmart?
Hasbro.
Hasbro.
Yep.
It was Kmart, right? Was Kmart GoBots?
No, it was Tonka.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was another toy company, right? So Tonka and GoBots came to market in the US about 2 years, I think, before Transformers.
Yeah.
It's just Transformers took all, like, the cartoon was super popular and sold all those toys.
Yeah, Shade Luma's latest comment, that doesn't surprise me at all.
They tried to change a bunch of stuff about the Mario movie when they brought it over to the US, supposedly, and I know the creator was not. No, the Nintendo sat down Universal and basically had them alter things to get back.
And little Chad, we've been seeing this in anime for years now. The localizers have become full-on social justice warriors, and they change shit that doesn't need to be changed because it offends their gentle sensibilities.
I know, because
so, like, you've got Kobayashi Dragon Maid making statements that no Japanese person has probably ever said in the history of existence.
I don't think any anime writer ever wrote the patriarchy.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
No, that one was, and I think that one of the localizers, that one was involved in some other anime issues. Let's see. Peach was way too much of a girl boss in that movie, in my opinion. You're your brother's sister.
Oh, my sister is correct. Correct, little Chad.
we
I do not deny that the Mario movie was a good movie, but you and a lot of other people have a fucking blind spot for Peach, who was a total girl boss.
All right, awesome one. We're gonna move on from this, otherwise we're gonna get a heated discussion about why you're so wrong. The One Piece animation has kept me from watching that show. Don't like it. The manga is much better. Okay, One Piece is one of the few things that actually genuinely just scares me off because of the volume of content.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your Inuyasha or a couple of others where it's like, oh my god, how many episodes?
I know the anime has like 1,000 episodes.
It's like a ridiculous number. Naruto. Like,
yeah, and God knows what the manga has in terms of volumes.
This is why I fell off of Bleach too. I was just like, oh my god, is there an end to this story? Something, maybe not even an end, but like, can we hit a checkpoint of some kind?
I need what's helpful with anime is they'll eventually consolidate probably several years worth of seasons into a movie that covers, because if you think about like Dragon Ball Z, there's a lot of just warming up for the fight before they get to the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it usually takes a week's worth of episodes, and then by the end of the week, you get that big finale.
Yeah, so you can usually consolidate down whole seasons of anime into like movies, sometimes a couple seasons worth into one movie.
I mean, and that's the thing though, right? Dragon Ball Z, like I watched it every day of the week, right? Like it was on Monday through Friday, right? So it was set up perfect for that, because it was like, okay, Monday, it's like, oh my god, he's so powerful, we're gonna have to power up. And then like Tuesday it was and Wednesday it was and Thursday it was and then Friday was like and they beat the shit out of each other.
I know. I mean, what's the move
for another fight?
What's the move that he does? The Kamehameha. Yeah, that thing would sometimes take a whole week to finish charging. Let's see.
No,
I've noticed the cutback on new anime translation.
You don't know what you're fucking talking about as it relates to Dragon Ball Z. A Kamehameha never took a week, okay? Powering up to the level that he was and then firing the Kamehameha.
Is that what it is?
But it never took a week for a Kamehameha.
I don't know with that Slender Ran is going to be a short one.
Which one?
I don't know.
The One Piece animation has kept me from watching that show. Don't like it. Okay, yeah, we already read that one.
comma chameleon.
There's more
That's
commas
actually-
than that. I've noticed the cutback on new anime translations of languages on Crunchyroll. I've only seen some English dubs with few or none other languages. Weirdly, I've been seeing a lot that have been getting everything but an English dub. Like I think like the Spanish and German and a couple other languages are further along on Bucket List of the Dead than the English.
You know, I'm a big fan of Bucket List of the Dead.
It's pretty good. I'm
they're
enjoying it.
they're just getting behind on getting the episodes right out there.
I don't know. The last
22nd
English dub I
DBZ.
watched had me laughing hysterically because he
Was it the one
fighting
where he was a
shark
hero?
with human legs.
That one.
It's
yeah,
like, well,
where
the shark must have ate them, and then they turned into zombies inside the shark.
I'm gonna be honest.
like,
That was the first when. All right, so I watched that episode. Spoilers for Bucket List of the Dead. When they went to the aquarium and he wanted to get the diving suit for swimming with sharks because it's bite proof, I was like, "Holy shit, that is an amazingly good idea for a zombie apocalypse outfit."
Yeah, no doubt. I would.
And
agree.
then when my favorite part was when he realized it might be bite proof, but he would still feel the compression injury.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay,
it doesn't
awesome one
feel-
is correct. The spirit bomb does take many episodes, but the Kamehameha is a pretty quick attack.
Well, all I know is Dragon Ball Z was on when I was a kid in Japan. And then when I came over, it seemed like it was the same show was on when I was an adult, and that's because it had just come over. But it's so to me mentally, it just feels like that same show had been going on for like 15 years.
It has been.
And then I've got people who watch Dragon Ball who are trying to explain to me how it went from Vegeta to Frieza, who, by the way, I swear I thought was a girl.
For the longest time, I thought Frieza was a girl as well.
Yeah, but Frieza's a dude.
He sounds like an old lady that smoked too much.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a instance of bad choice for voice actor for that one. And then I think
the
there
voice
was
actor probably thought he was voicing a girl.
Yeah, and then was it Cell was the next villain?
I don't know. But at this point, I mean, I see Brahma in the chat. Why hasn't he come in? We could start talking about Mortal Kombat because I don't even know what this story is about.
I never saw an actual fight start or end in Dragon Ball. Yeah, you could if you missed it, you could have known.
No, you had to commit for a season if you wanted to see a fight end in Dragon Ball. Like, come on now.
All right. I enjoyed anime as a kid before I knew what it was and then didn't watch it much until my 30s. Hey, well, I think in your 30s as an adult male in the United States, you can really start appreciating all the quality things anime brings to the table. Because it doesn't have agenda the same way. It's generally about just a fun story. There's goofy stories like being a vending machine in a dungeon. There's just slice of life stories where you're just following a dude campfire cooking in a new world. I keep using isekais, but there's other ones too. There's if you want to watch one with your wife, you could watch like how Raylene ended up at the Duke's mansion. You could watch
that's an isekai too.
Love is War.
Love is War is fantastic. That is a full-on slice of life comedy.
Yeah, Love is War is a great one to watch with a spouse. Or My Love Story at Level 999, which now has an English dub, so I'm sure Slender's really happy about that.
Which one?
I don't know. My Love Story with you was it Yamada-kun at level 999.
Oh yeah, I gotta finish that one. There should be more episodes in English now.
Yeah, the I don't know why they waited for the next season to do the dub.
Seriously, I see Brahma in our chat. Why is he not here? We've been.
Well,
I mean, we're
Brahma,
in just like wasting time bullshitting right now.
all right, let's see if
Code
Sister of
Geass is
Slender.
not best anime. It's
Oh,
good. It's good, but it's not best.
I know that Slender has a soft spot for Tangsun Panzer.
Oh, Tangsun Panzer is pretty. Your Girls in Panzer.
Our Girls in
Girls in
Panzer.
Panzer is pretty good.
I know that you have a soft spot for Orin Host Club.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do like Oran Host Club. There it is.
You've spoken him into existence.
I have summoned the Brahma Bull.
Hey, what's up?
Howdy.
Brahma was streaming Mortal Kombat, and right when he asked me to come on the stream, I'm like, it's too late. I got to go to bed because it was late but it looked like it was Brahma was kicking some ass those last few games.
Brahma, have you ever played Dark Souls?
Oh yeah.
You want to do Dark Souls together?
Games. Sure. At some point.
I'm thinking about doing like a nostalgia play and starting with Dark Souls and just working my way through all the games.
Do they have it modded yet for regular Dark Souls where you can play multiplayer without having to resummon every single area?
I don't know.
I know Elden Ring did something with it.
I know they mentioned something along those lines for Dark Souls Remastered.
Okay.
Because I have the Prepare to Die edition and Remastered.
Yeah,
and
I've got everything, I think.
Yeah, key features for Remastered are Deep and Dark Universe. Each end is a new beginning. Gameplay richness and possibilities. Sense of learning, mastering, and accomplishment. And then the last thing it says, the way of the multiplayer, up to 6 players with dedicated servers. So,
well, that'd be nice if you don't have to go through each level on each character, to be able to summon into the next zone. So
yeah, as I recall, summons worked better in Dark Souls 3. Because I could just put down my mark, and then like my son could summon me, and we could just go. Like I didn't have to wait till we were at the boss or anything. We could do everything.
Yeah, you could set a password too, to where it wasn't just anybody saw your mark; it was just that person.
Yeah. All right, so Brahma, what's your initial thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1?
It's been interesting so far. I have not played the story mode at all, and Mark the Cyborg has basically said that the story mode is absolute crap. So, as a single-player game, I don't think people are going to care too much for the story mode or arcade mode. Well, they will like the arcade mode. Yeah.
How many fighting games have you played with a really great story?
Injustice had a really good story.
Yeah, Injustice had if you clip it together to a movie, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Injustice was decent. I think the first Soul Calibur was pretty interesting story, but I can't say like that the Soul Calibur series holds up because the story is the same fucking story.
So I think
Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Well, the problem you have with a fighting game, and this is why I think Injustice, I don't know if Mortal Kombat does it this way now too, is when you have to have all these different endings for the different fighters and basically a different story path, it just, they get lazy and they're just I can't put so much effort into making an amazing story for every fighter. So I think, what was it, Injustice is, if you did the story arc, you got managed on which character you were playing.
Yeah, you didn't pick the character.
Mortal Kombat does the same thing.
We're going through this character's arc right now, so you will be playing this character for this fight and then that one.
It would make sense because I think Injustice and Mortal Kombat are the same development team.
Yep.
I think as far as story mode goes, that's probably a better way to approach it. Just because it also gets the player familiar with characters they might not otherwise pick, but then find out they like when they played it.
It forces you to play every character in the game at least for a few matches.
It did do that when I was playing Injustice.
Story arc that way, and then have chapters for each of the characters where you can pick an individual character and get kind of a mini story for each character as well. That'd be a cool way to do it.
I think that
Yeah.
is kind of basically the approach when you do it like that. That reminds me of like that. The way you described it kind of reminds me of how they did it in Injustice, which, if Brahma is right, is how they would do it in Mortal Kombat, where you play a few matches with each character, and that moves the storyline forward for that character you're using in that match towards the overarching story.
Yeah, well, whatever characters are giving you,
Yeah.
they're having it move forward in the canon storyline, and then the endings. Each characters have individual endings, of course, but only one of those endings is typically canon, and that's what leads into whatever the next game's story is. Like Mortal Kombat 11 ends with Liu Kang basically taking the power to control time and becomes like an elder god. So at the beginning of this game, it's actually resetting the whole series back to the first tournament. But Liu Kang is now an elder god that is kind of controlling how everybody gets there and everything, trying to keep the peace between the realms.
Well, I wasn't Liu Kang the canon winner of the first tournament.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
canon winner in the game, in the movies. Yeah, Liu Kang's kind of been their thing this whole time. But like now in Mortal Kombat 1, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are actually brothers. Where it used to be they were
They were
complete
from
enemies.
they were from rival clans, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And Sub-Zero, the original Sub-Zero, I believe, was killed by Scorpion, and then his little brother took over as Sub-Zero starting in, I think, 2.
Yeah, I believe that's when they rebranded to make Sub-Zero not a bad guy. And
Right.
that's because Sub-Zero was super popular because he was the blue ninja who shot ice. And it had nothing to do with story. But because the storyline was that he had massacred like Scorpion's family. Like
Right.
they decided they
Kuei
they had to change it so that it was a new Sub-Zero who didn't have the baggage of having murdered children, like Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, and then every now and then in certain games they'd have 2 versions of Sub-Zero, and it would be the older brother or the younger brother.
Is that I think that's also when they switched to like the maskless Sub-Zero versus the one with the mask.
That was Mortal Kombat 3, where he's got the scar across his eye and he's not got a mask. Yeah.
All right. So I know. All right. So your dude that you were rocking was, I think, Barack was.
Yeah, I started out playing Smoke earlier in the day because that was release day is when I was playing it. So I thought I wanted to play as Smoke, but I'm not that great at fighting games. So although I could get most of Smoke's combos when I'm playing against actual people, I couldn't find the openers to start the combo. So I can do the combo if I can get an opening. But this game's kind of weird in that it's got the high, mid, and low stuff. So you have to block high or low. So you can get poked real easily by people just jabbing and stuff. But not all jabs lead into a combo. So I was doing horrible as Smoke. So while Toxic Tuesday was going on, I was kind of watching it in the background and testing other characters. Found Baraka, and he's got to be the easiest character to play in the whole game. I mean, if you want an easy beginner's character, he's fantastic. One of his combos is literally just hitting B 6 times, and it just goes on forever. So he's I mean, it feels a little bit cheap playing him because he's so easy to play. But I think on the tier list that I've seen already, everybody's saying this may be Baraka's actual time to shine in Mortal Kombat because he's been crapped on since number 2.
I'm
And
glad
he's
I
always
listen to
been
this
one of
stream
the
while
worst
you
players.
guys are still talking and I walk away because I feel I need to point out, chat, Brahma plays the meta. He plays the fucking meta every time.
I found this without looking at the meta. In fact, it was the first 2 hours of the game being out,
Well,
so
of
it's
course,
hard to
you
get the
couldn't
meta
play
then.
Yeah, you are the meta, Brahma. You're meta.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm a sorcerer in Conan.
Sometimes you make Mad really upset when you're able to do things he really wanted to be able to do but didn't try to do.
Yeah, like build golems.
I was gonna yeah, that was my favorite. golems were going to be my thing, Brahma. And it's like, you've been playing this game for like 2 months and haven't done it. Like,
My favorite was Mad going, I finally downloaded it and I was like, watch, we'll never stream this game again. We still haven't ever really streamed the game again. We all showed up when Sporking decided to play it for the one day. But
I've been looking at games in the library to see if there's something we could play.
Yeah. But
I
every
kinda
time I
wanna-
buy a game, Mad stops streaming it immediately.
Yeah,
He
but-
convinces me to buy the game and then he'll just stop streaming it
Well,
the
Brahma, that's why
second
me
I
and
start
you,
playing.
we got to do a game because I won't quit on you.
Right.
I'll never quit on you, Brahma. I have missed Scott playing Conan again.
I think he's
But
just
it was-
been too busy.
It was funny that first day, Mad's like, oh yeah, I'll help you get going and everything. And I don't think you were on that day, Slender. You had just given me access to the thing. So Mad like walks me up to where our bases are, right? Those starting bases that we had all built. And then he was like, okay, I got to log out. I might be on later. And he comes back on, and I think you guys had come down to check out where I was at. And I had already built a whole, house for myself, like a castle I had already leveled up like 20 times what Mad did in his first couple weeks. I had already accomplished that in the first 3 hours. And you guys were like, yeah, I don't think he's going to need your help, Mad.
Nope, he figured it out. He cracked the code.
Yeah, the building thing was not too hard to grasp, and then the sorcerer thing where I don't even have to mine anymore. It's just I walk around and cast a spell and everything just warps over to me.
Dude, I've got other games we could try. I've been wanting to go back to Valheim and try that out.
Yeah, I never played Valheim.
Valheim's pretty good. I've got Ark Survival Evolved, but that's a commitment.
Yeah.
If nothing else,
stop
that's a
making-
commitment on storage space because Ark Survival Evolved takes 206 gigabytes just to install.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Dang.
It's a huge fucking game.
Well, and Diablo 4 starts season 2 in a couple weeks. We'll see if season 2's any.
I didn't even
Any
play
more
season
worth
1.
playing.
I was just like, oh, season 1 sounds like hot garbage.
Oh, this might be
Yeah.
the best suggestion I've heard in a while. Get Scott and Culture to play Conan together. That would be funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that would-
Culture's actually a bit of a gamer.
I
Scott
know, but Scott
isn't.
isn't. That's what would make it funny because Culture would get very frustrated. I feel like he's the kind who would actually take his games a little more serious, and Scott would just keep screwing things up.
Yeah, well, Culture had a gaming channel for a hot minute. He started it, played for like 5 days, and then was like, has never mentioned it again. It's
I
kind of
feel
like his
if I
DIY
can
channel.
If I can convince you to play Dark Souls with me, Brahma, it will be short-lived because I do not play the meta. Like if
Dark Souls.
I want to go back to Dark Souls right now, and what I keep thinking to myself is, you know what? I really loved the Great Scythe. I think I'm gonna rush the Great Scythe if I play Dark Souls.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beast trying to get down into the catacombs to get the Great Scythe, but it is like, I'll never need to pick up another weapon if I get that.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Well, that sounds like you're trying to play the meta.
No, I just love the Great Scythe.
Apparently, Jean-Claude Van Damme is a playable character in the
It's
new
a
Mortal
skin
Kombat.
for Johnny Cage, the Bloodsport. Jean-Claude
Actually,
Van Damme
that
skin.
makes perfect sense.
But I guess Jean-Claude came in and did the voice acting for it.
Yeah, it sounds like his Bloodsport character. Which
Does he
in
tell-
Mortal
does-
Kombat 1, I think it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
They wanted Jean-Claude Van Damme to do the modeling for it, but it didn't happen.
I mean, he might have been too busy shooting Street Fighter. Maybe there was a conflict
Yeah.
of interest.
Yeah, but they
Because
still,
he's going
they
to kick
still had Johnny
Tyson's
Cage
ass so
doing,
hard.
They still had Johnny Cage doing the splits and punching people in the nuts. So
Yep, and he
All
still
right,
does it now.
I unabashedly love the Mortal Kombat movie because I saw it when I was, when did it come out? 94, when I was like 13.
yeah,
And-
it's a terrible movie, but it's a guilty pleasure. I love it.
Yeah, 1995. So yeah, it was, And they actually got a girl who was hot to play Sonya Blade.
Yep.
I mean, God knows who they would have play Sonya Blade now. I mean,
well, wasn't it the same chick that was in Billy Madison?
Yeah, Bridget Wilson, who I think is married to Pete Sampras.
Oh yeah, good for him.
Yep, married since 2000 to Pete Sampras. So good for her. Yeah, and she was what was her name? Miss Vaughn in Billy Madison.
Veronica Vaughn.
That
Veronica Vaughn is one fine piece of ass.
You haven't done that. No, I haven't.
No, but you can imagine it.
When they were doing the strip studying, that was hilarious.
Yeah, with Farley. That is correct. And he starts unbuttoning the shirt.
But yeah,
okay, I feel like at this point we might have to kick Awesome One out of the channel forever.
What did he say? I don't have the chat up at the moment.
The Avatar and Dragon Ball Z live action movies. So Avatar: The Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Z. Oh no. That might be the trolliest comment I've ever heard.
My day is ruined, and I feel like I should end the stream.
No, we just got Brahma on to talk about Mortal Kombat.
All right. I won't. I'll let it go.
So hell, I could even just fire it up and play a match while we're talking.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
Just share the screen.
Dude, I could start going for the Great Scythe right now.
Damn it, Slender! If you do that, you're just gonna get sucked into. You can check Discord and see that you're playing when you were playing Diablo on our stream.
No, you can't. No, you can't. I can tell you right now, you can't check Discord and see that shit because I disabled that.
Battle.net.
Yeah. Battle.net I haven't disabled, but Discord I've disabled. You don't know when I'm playing games.
Well, mine just always shows my it always shows me playing a game called DLS, and that is, or DSX, something like that.
It's actually wrong with your microphone.
I think it's just internet.
Ugh.
But luckily we're doing local recording, so it'll be fine in the mix.
Yeah, it's probably because I was clicked over starting Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah. It's because he's playing games.
Well, no, he's going to share the screen so he can actually demonstrate the game. I'll be honest though, I liked the Injustice story, but I don't think the graphics on these games are really that great.
They don't need to be.
I know that's not the point of it.
The faces look horrible.
Yeah, I'm looking at the character models when I was looking at the list of the roster, and
well, that's just an America thing now. Haven't you noticed that in American games, like it's all about making the characters ugly?
Why do the girls all look fat too? Like not they're like it's the athletic fat, but they still look.
Let's do it.
Yep.
I'm not sharing the sound though. I don't think so.
Mortal Kombat. Nothing.
I enjoy that their entire ad campaign is Dave Bautista standing on a car just yelling Mortal Kombat.
I'm for it.
Right. They really went all out for this one.
Those are some nice looking Japanese red maples too.
Actually, the backgrounds and the fighting stages look fantastic. It's just the character models that look like crap, especially the chicks. I mean, you'll have to pull
are you
up what
fighting
a
real
picture of
people now,
Tanya
Brahma?
used to like.
Yep, he fights online.
Someone's gonna stream snipe us.
I don't like fighting the freaking.
Ooh, you're
computer.
9-up.
It's boring.
Good for you.
That's a decent win-loss ratio. I don't play fighting games because nope.
This is unranked. My ranked one I've been working on. So
the closest thing I've got to a fighting game is what is it? Smite. I played a shitload of Smite back in the day. But that is MOBA.
So Cyrax gives you some teleport moves, right?
Cyrax, I can call him in to continue combos and stuff, or he can use the green net to capture people. But I'm not good enough to have figured out how to really utilize him yet.
It's funny.
Yeah,
Beat up
well,
the
this person
10-year-old.
has 0 online fights so far, so they could be great or they could be absolute trash. But he's using the character that I initially started with, Smoke.
Is it possible that there's that if it's a 0 like that, you're fighting an AI?
No.
That just means they haven't done matches or something.
So who's who? Are you Baraka?
Yep.
It's weird that you're on the right side. It's throwing me off. There you go. I prefer you being on the left side. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, well, now he's losing on the left
Well,
side.
shit.
Go back to the right side. There you go.
So this is literally just hitting B when it starts that combo and going into another down forward.
Dude, Smoke is kicking the shit out of you right now.
Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing.
That was my all right. So when I was watching Brahma play the other night, he was playing this one person, and like the person just wasn't doing anything about these ranged attacks. So Brahma was just like launching the cheesy little ranged attacks,
and they wouldn't block him.
They wouldn't block. It was like, come on.
Wait. Did Sector just fire a missile at you at the beginning of this match?
Yeah, you can call in and assist.
Oh, okay.
So he's got Sector, I've got Cyrax.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically the same.
All right, this dude actually knows the combos, so he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not horrible. Plus, Smoke, he teleports a freaking ton, so he's hard to track.
Yeah, teleports are rough. I used the shit out of Scorpion's teleports back in the day.
I'd say I'm screwed. Here, we'll just get your stream taken down real quick.
Oh no, violence.
I mean, it's streaming a game like this is. I mean, we our stream is marked not for kids. I mean, I know YouTube's trying to get more into the gaming space. I hope they're not taking down people playing Mortal Kombat.
Hey,
they did for Mortal Kombat 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of
when
the
you
blood.
Get those X-ray
you could only
things.
demonstrate things with Reptile because he has green blood.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Like anybody who clicks into a Mortal Kombat game isn't going to know that
Don't they have
blood.
people streaming Call of Duty?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing, but just like, oh.
Come on, Brahma, you got this. You've almost won it. Uh-oh.
I know, but I'm screwed now.
He landed the fatal blow.
You just had a missile inject itself into your frontal lobe and explode. Yeah, you're not in a good place.
Yeah, that was part of the problem.
And demonetized.
And now the freaking teleport madness. Dang it. I had him. I was going in for the last grab.
Oh, man. Finisher.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, this is what drives me nuts about the online play. I complained about it the whole stream yesterday, too. It's like everybody does fatalities in online play, and it's like, really? We need to waste another 45 seconds to see the same thing we've seen over and over and over.
I mean, that's really cool not for you. It's for the winner.
Yeah. But I don't do them because I find it annoying. So yeah, he was pretty good.
I mean, it's Mortal Kombat. This is what made Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think the guy knows what he's doing because he's not hitting a rematch or anything else.
Well, that was allegedly, according to the ranking things, that was his first game,
was his,
right?
Right. Normally you play 3 matches though. Or well, you play best of 5. So that's what it looks like.
Versus King of the Hill. Nice.
Looks pretty
good. where it just lets you. Here's all the characters. King of the Hill is where if you win, you just keep getting challenged by other people. So this is what Tanya looks like now. And if we look at like Mortal Kombat 4 or 9, I think is another one that she's in. She looked completely different. I mean, like they have uglified a ton of people. That's the new model for Sindel.
Ugh.
And then, I mean, there's a few of them. A lot of the guys don't look horrible, but the chicks just look ridiculous. Johnny Cage looks a bit goofy. Like,
Wait.
I don't know how in a world where you can do photorealistic faces, you get goofy looking faces like Johnny Cage's.
That looks like that's straight out of the Avengers Square Enix game. Is what that is. That's bad.
Yeah. There's some
No
pretty,
Sonya,
pretty
no
horrible
Sonya
versions.
in this one.
She's available as a cameo, but not as a main character. So the cameo characters are your assist characters.
Oh, okay.
So it's got Darius, Serena, Cyrax, Kano, Sonya, and Sonya looks horrible.
What the hell?
Yeah, seriously. And then Sub-Zero, Scorpion. So they've got playable characters and they've got cameo characters. And then Goro, Motaro. And I don't even know who this is. Oh, it's Stryker. And then Jax.
Jax got his arms back.
What the fuck? That's sexist.
Yep, because it's back on the original storyline.
Timeline. Yeah.
Stop objectifying men in games, damn it.
I guess Bride of Slender has a question for that comment.
No. She has a question probably about what they did to Sonya and all the other female characters in Mortal Kombat.
I know.
Mortal Kombat's one of her favorite games.
Who does?
My wife.
Right.
She loves Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what it looks like. I have to step away for just a minute because we're going to sing happy birthday to my daughter and cut the cake real quick. So
that's okay, because we've covered all the topics and the stream is over.